Hello, welcome to Spilling the IT. I'm Paul Burke with Quest Technology Management. That's Adam Burke with Quest Technology Management. And yeah, we're spilling the IT. We're talking about things that are happening in the tech world, things that we think you should know about, things that'll be helpful for you. Adam, how's life going?
Going good, going good. Been a solid week, busy. Things are firing up like they always tend to. Um, but it's a good week. Saw
I
some cool
like
stuff happen last week in the channel, and yeah, going well, going well. How's everything going?
Good. You know what? I think I might add the sound effect of you typing in the background because during the music, you typing, I was like, "That's good ambiance. That's good. It provides a nice environmental sound effect. People feel like, oh, they're so busy. Even during the intro, they cannot slow down.
But did you hear me typing? That you
Yeah,
heard the typing in the background?
I did
Oh,
hear you typing,
solid,
but
solid.
that's my bad. Did not mute you. So, but you know what?
We're coming up on end of month. There's only you can schedule your day in hours, or you can schedule it in minutes, and there's times you can get things done. And the intro moments to spilling the IT is get a couple emails off to the Cisco team, check in, see what's going on with some pricing.
Mm-hmm.
We're good. We're good.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Love it. So today we wanted to dive in and talk about subscriptions and licensing. And Cisco came out with some really interesting numbers. So you said that to me, and you're like, "Hey, I think that's a really great kind of diving in point to talking about subscriptions and licensing." So you want to talk about what Cisco announced?
Well, yeah. So last week they announced they came out with their numbers, and their CFO Scott Heron was kind of touting the fact that they had achieved their goal of getting to 30% of its revenue being generated from software. And a lot of people are like, well, why does that matter, right? Well, everyone in the marketing world for IT talks about cloud, talks about capabilities, talks about software as a service. Um, but what people sometimes don't realize is that this whole machine that is IT services is powered by Wall Street, right? Investors care about how these organizations are making money. They choose where to invest, who are going to become the Goliaths, and who are going to become, who are going to fall.
Mm-hmm.
Cisco controls 70 to 80% of the world's networking, right? They are huge. They are um, a massive, massive enterprise player in the networking space. What they've been dealing with over the past 10 years as people transition to the cloud is being a little bit behind the curve when it comes to subscription-based services. And why they care about that is back to the Wall Street idea of how they report their numbers and how they report their revenue. And why that matters to our customers is because how the IT partners that you bring into your organization care about how you're buying. So Cisco has been a battleship, and they've been slowly turning it, and Robbins and everyone has been moving that towards a subscription model because Wall Street cares about annual contract values, monthly recurring revenue. Everyone is on board and chasing monthly recurring revenue and subscriptions because it's a predictable cost model. All of a sudden, 15, 20 years ago, you would have bookings. You would report large orders. We drop ship hardware, end of quarter, end of month, all that kind of stuff. Very, very
Mm-hmm.
big deal. And you'd have these huge, huge purchase orders that came through. Now, a lot of that large purchase order is transitioning into subscription-based services
Mm-hmm.
on everything. Your phone systems, your
Oh, you got muted, Adam. So
what's that?
oh, you were muted there for a second. So big subscription didn't want you talking about this.
Oh yeah, no. So everyone is really transitioning to subscription-based
Mm-hmm.
services because that's how they care. That's how they care about revenue. It's people want to buy that way. People in Wall Street want to capture that monthly recurring revenue, and they want organizations to report on it. So it was a big deal that Cisco, it's a $50 billion plus company, market cap wise, has transitioned their business model to a third of their revenue coming in from software subscriptions. Big deal. I mean, we saw this a couple of years ago in the Cisco world because we work directly with their sales reps. We work directly as a service provider in their world. So we sell their stuff, been selling their stuff for 30 years. So we've been a VAR for a long time, but we're also a managed service provider, which means that we have been taking parts and pieces from vendors such as Cisco and delivering them as a subscription service to our customers over a specific term. Tim always tells the story of, you know, before Chuck, you know, was the CEO.
Hmm.
You know, back in the old days, he went to the Gold Partners lunch, and in that, the previous CEO of Cisco mentioned to all the gold service providers, hey, the world is transitioning to, I think it's around 2005.
Hmm.
The world is transitioning to, it was Chambers. Chambers used to do these gold partner lunches, where like the top, you know, 500 partners would all get in a room and listen to the stories about what Cisco was doing. And he advised, hey, you guys should really start looking at monthly reoccurring charges, look at subscriptions. And we had started our managed security practice in 99. So that kind of reaffirmed what Tim was thinking as far as building out our reoccurring revenue and a way to help customers. But then also to hear that coming from someone who traditionally ships boxes and drop ships things and does one-time transactions,
Hmm.
that was a big light bulb, you know, moment, and we kind of kept investing in that capability to have monthly reoccurring revenue streams, which we, you know, obviously we can pivot quickly, a much smaller organization than Cisco, but you know they've been working on this for a long time. So last year when uh, you know they announced that they're on track for their 30% revenue target, it was a big deal. It was
I
kind of
think
it was kind of interesting to see.
um, so. Cisco is has been a huge deal. Another company that comes to my mind that I use frequently is Adobe, and I feel like
Hmm.
Adobe about 10 years ago switched to doing more subscriptions versus just selling. Hey, here's Photoshop in a box. You got the license for a year until we upgrade it to version 20. Enjoy version 23. We're going to bring you 24, but here $700. Thanks for your money. Here's Photoshop for a year. And Adobe really started doing subscriptions and licensing that way. And I remember listening to a lot of investors being very resistant, thinking, this is, wait, you want to take $25 a month or $35 a month for the entire suite of Adobe products. I mean, now I think it's 50 or 60. But you want to take $25 versus 700?
Hmm.
Walk me through this thing. And
Yeah,
but I mean, that's been
yeah,
a huge success, I think. And I mean, well, I mean, the stock price would suggest it's a
yeah.
success too, um, for Adobe. So I think a lot of people were resistant very early on, but I mean, very recently, in the last 5 years, people have been like, "Oh, this is a great plan, a great idea."
Well, they're seeing that Adobe's a fantastic example. Like so it used to be where you would buy a suite of services from a software provider
Hmm.
and you would have what was called perpetual license, right? You buy that perpetual license, you own the license, and then you'd have to basically pay, you know, upgrades, maintenance agreements, those types of things. That's kind of how they got their revenue a little bit sticky,
Hmm.
right? So you'd pay these maintenance renewals, and there'd be huge negotiations. Microsoft was classic for this. You buy the Microsoft suite, and then you'd have to kind of pay for maintenance and upgrades, and they'd release, you know, Windows 95 and Windows 2000 and XL and all those things, and you'd pay for those. They're an organization. Satya, no, I always mispronounce his last name, but Satya, yeah, the
Nadali?
CEO of Microsoft, huh?
Satya Nadali?
There you go. Yep,
Boom.
yeah, I'm bad on the last name. He does. He got credited a lot for transitioning the Microsoft world, similar to what Cisco's going through right now. And what was amazing was everyone uses Microsoft, everyone uses Office Suite, everyone. A lot of people use Power BI, a lot of people use all the sorts of different tools. Um, and the same way that you subscribe to your cloud environments or your hosted phone systems or anything like that, you're now subscribing for the right to use something that your entire industry is built, your entire Office suite is built on.
Mm-hmm.
Word, Exchange, everything. People used to, I mean, a big part of our business used to be helping organizations with their it's funny to say this now, their on-premise Exchange server. They would have, people would host their, this sounds weird, people would host their own, and some people still do this, some people would host their own on-premise Exchange server.
Back in
Um,
my day, we used to have an on-premise Exchange server. Yeah.
yeah, and but most and organizations now, Microsoft's made it so expensive to do that that it just is kind of a no-brainer to leverage a subscription-based service for, Microsoft 365 licensing, which includes your Exchange environment. So, but what that does is you have to pay that utility,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like it's a power company. You got to keep paying to keep the lights on. If you don't, those lights go off. What used to happen was people would buy perpetual licenses and they could operate their business maybe without buying the upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
And not that this would ever happen, but maybe, just maybe, they didn't quite pay for all the software that they had. Maybe. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know.
It could
Now,
happen.
it
I've
could
heard.
happen.
I've heard rumors. I've heard rumors.
But now when you have subscription-based services, those features, all of that is connected and audited and completely tracked. So like we're a what's called a tier one cloud services provider for Microsoft, right? So we invested in this. We started in 2015, providing what's called subscription-based services for Microsoft licensing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at any given time, Microsoft can look at our tenant and we can look at our tenant and see exactly how many users from a certain organization are leveraging what licenses.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no, there's like software piracy in the big space has dramatically fallen down, and Microsoft, Cisco, Oracle, Adobe, you know who's using your stuff
Mm-hmm.
and you know how much of it they have. So it's
So
it's
it
a it's
helps.
a fit,
So it
huh?
helps their bottom line for sure
Oh yeah.
because they know who's using it. How does it help the user? So how does it help the business who's licensing and subscribing? Because people are going to be watching this. Maybe you're watching
Yeah.
this right now. Maybe you're watching it later on the replay. They might be
Well,
curious.
it's Friday, Paul, so I probably am a little bit cynical. So I apologize for that. It is Friday. It's been a week. No, it does help the end user in the sense of um, the idea of launching a new capability, downloading a new update,
Mhm.
getting access to the latest and greatest. Um, it's amazing how fast. I mean, this stuff is literally at your fingertips. It's on your smartphone. It's instant. It's downloadable. You can deploy it pretty quickly.
And you can
Amazing
have
capabilities for end user.
what I love. I mean, you can have it running in the background. So when you're not even at your computer, it's updating for you. So when you sit down, you're getting the most updated, the most protected piece of software for you to use. Like I have I'll go back to Adobe because I use it so much that when I sit down, Photoshop's like, hey, by the way, we just gave you all this new stuff in our most recent update. And I was like, oh, this is great. I can use this and try this and test this. And didn't even know it was coming, but they just kind of hand it to you in the cloud update.
Yeah, the features that can be released and pushed out, the subscription. One of the benefits that's kind of pitched out there, but I don't think is used that much, is like incremental and utilization based billing. I was joking earlier this week. Um, dealing with the situation. Everyone loves utilization billing until they start utilizing shit. Like
So
that
what is utilization billing before?
utilization billing is I'm going to only pay for what I use when I use it.
Got it.
And we're in an industry where a lot of people kind of believe that maybe they can schedule workflows and utilization a little bit. Maybe they think they could do that a little bit better than they can.
Got it.
Because once you turn up a license, once you add a user, once you create a new database, all these things, they're great. Everyone's got plans, but you have to turn them down, right? You have to turn it off because that once that meter starts running, you're paying for it,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks great. Hey, it's hourly billing, or it's per user billing, or it's per month billing. You really need to watch that, and have some serious discipline around managing that utilization. And how are you doing that? Who's checking that for you? What are some gates to do that? Because you love it. It's an easy sell. I'm a sales guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can sell that utilization concept to a lot of people, but you do need to have that checks and balance there along the lines of, hey, it's utilization based, but you got to turn that meter off. And you want to make sure you turn that meter off if you're not using it, because if you don't, it's expensive.
It's, I mean, I think sometimes people, I know I'm guilty of this. You want to be the smartest person in the room, and you're like, oh, this utilization billing allows for me to to highlight how smart I am because
Hmm.
I'll use it for a finite period. And who would forget to turn it off? That's silly. Who would forget? I'm so smart. Of course I wouldn't forget. And then
If
people
if a
do.
s- if a sales guy, Paul, if a sales guy or gal is quoting statistics or like return on investment or total cost of ownership, there's an 87% chance that they're completely full of it.
Wait a second. Wait a second.
Did you see what I did there?
I see what you did, Adam. If I were a robot, this is where my brain would explode because I'd be like, wait a second, I can't compute this. He told me a fact, but used a statistic. I've seen movies. That's how
It's
you
a
get.
joke.
That's how you trick a robot.
I'll explain the jokes if I have to. I
Oh,
will
I got it.
explain them.
I
Great
got it. And
comedians do.
that's in a movie where the robot's mind explodes and the good guys get away because they're like, we hacked, we created a statement a robot cannot understand.
Yeah.
Um, Interesting. Okay, so utilization. That's a great note for everybody. Like, hey, remember to turn it off. As simple as that sounds. I
Well,
mean, how
there's
often?
platforms out there. Yeah, there's platforms out there that can help with that,
Mm-hmm,
and we help people with that. We help schedule jobs. We help, schedule burstable bandwidth, help schedule burstable utilization. There's all sorts of cool stuff that software can do.
mm-hmm,
Amazing stuff software can do. But uh, like everything, when you look at these subscriptions, what's the business outcome that you're going to get from actually subscribing to this? It's
mm-hmm.
really cool. It can check your database performance. It can monitor your network. It can brew you a cup of coffee and tell you how great you are. But at the same time, like, what is it actually going to do for your business?
Mm-hmm.
And then what is that subscription really going to cost you over the course of a year, 2 years, 3 years? What's that going to look like? So.
And I think you raise a great point too. Like going in before getting the subscription, have a clear idea of what you want. Like, what is the ideal business outcome? And then very often there are so many subscriptions available and so many services available that you can very often customize something um, that helps you get to the outcome that you want versus just grabbing a bunch of subscriptions and then being like, we'll figure it out as we go.
Yeah, and the good thing about subscriptions, and the utilization billing, though, so the thing that is nice is you do have the ability to turn it off if you make a wrong decision,
Mm,
right? Everyone makes mistakes. People can choose the wrong solution. Hey, we bought this package and we thought it was going to take, you know, 2 weeks to integrate it, but it looks like it's going to be a 6-month project. We don't have the time or the ability to do that. We're gonna withdraw from that agreement.
got it.
Um, Back in the old days, you bought the package, you own it. It's yours. You better roll that thing out, or it's going to become shelfware.
That's a great point.
So
That's a
so
great
that
point.
that does help you. That is a positive, in my rose-colored glasses. I'll get out of my cynical nature for my Friday afternoon here. Um, that
Who am I
does
talking
give
to? Who is this person with rose-colored glasses?
no, that does give you the flexibility to make those pivots, which is pretty cool.
Got it.
Um, yeah,
Great point.
yeah, yeah.
Cool. Well, anything else about subscriptions, licensing? Again, I feel like every time we do these spilling the ITs, like we just barely just kind of graze the surface of all these topics. Is there anything else that you feel like people should know before we take off?
No, I mean, so what's exciting about subscriptions or how people change their business models or how they're changing their consumption is, very, very critical. How does it affect your business, and what does it mean to your company? What it means to, Cisco, for example, is they pay their people based on subscriptions,
Hmm.
right? So, okay, so everyone understands how their people are getting paid. Understand how your business partners are making money, what's important to them, and then when you're evaluating who to work with, how does that affect your business? We do a thing for our customers. It's a software infrastructure kind of health check and review, right? So when we're going into organizations to see how their patching is going, how their updates are going, and if they want to transition to a subscription or cloud model,
Hmm.
we, you know, have those conversations with a partner you can trust to evaluate. Okay, here's where we are. Here's what we're currently invested in, and here's kind of the business outcome we're looking for. How do we use uh, how do we use the software landscape and the infrastructure landscape to get where we want to go?
Hmm.
And what's cool is, when you're working with professionals who do this every day, like Quest, we kind of know a little bit of the history of where these companies came from. We know why Microsoft packaged some of their stuff the way they did. We understand the way they're changing their pricing. Um, we've been working with groups like Cisco for 30 years, so we know how to best leverage what strengths and weaknesses every vendor has. So my last little parting nugget there would be, um, you know, if you don't know where you're at, we have an infrastructure health check assessment that I think maybe we can link to it on this one.
Hmm. We
It'd be
will.
great to get involved and see if we can help, evaluate current subscriptions or where you might be going.
Yeah, and again, no pressure. You can just click on the link, find out about the health check, and see if it works for you. I think a lot of what we do here at Quest, well, I know what we do here at Quest is if it works for you, great. If it doesn't, that's okay. So, no pressure. Check it out. Adam, real quick, before we take off, what should people watch? What's out there? HBO, Netflix, regular TV, all those things. Regular
I've been
regular
slacking.
TV.
I've been slacking. I finally watched Doctor Strange, the Marvel movie.
Oh, the movie. Got
The
it. I was like,
movie.
was it?
Well, I knew him from Avengers. Like I saw him in Avengers, and I'm like, okay, this guy is kind of a arrogant, hippy dippy, voodoo guy,
Yeah.
or not
Hmm.
voodoo,
Hmm.
Buddhist. No, something. There's a shaved
Um,
head in there.
I don't know. I
Um,
don't think it's like specific to anything. I think it's just like spiritual.
Spiritual. Okay, sure.
Mhm.
Sure. There were some
He,
interdimensional concepts going on there. Anyways, I watched that on the Peloton this week. That was my Peloton movie.
nice.
Took me 2 days to watch it, but that was it. So that was it for me.
Well, and that's like a over 2 hour movie. So Adam, that's quite the flex on how
You
much
see
you
the
ride
humble brag? You
Peloton.
see the like, little humble brag there, the little slip in. Yeah, it just rolls right out.
Oh, me? It only took me one viewing. What'd you watch? Oh, I watched Gone with the Wind.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
what? So, did you like it? Good.
yeah, yeah. It's good. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
It's
liked
cool.
it. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Cumberbatch, he's a real good actor. He's a up
Hmm.
and comer. He's gonna go somewhere.
He's doing
Um,
all right.
he's doing all right. So I watched. Boy, I get sucked into some reality shows. You ever watch The Prophet? It's like a
Yeah,
reality show where I
yeah.
feel like I'm learning something. Like it's
Yeah.
not the yeah. So I've been
Yeah,
watching.
he's got the little people and the little arrows, and it's like, here's where money goes. Here's where you lose money. Here's where your
Yeah,
business fails. Yeah.
those graphics. Sometimes when I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, I'm learning something, and then those graphics are like so like remedial and dumb. Sometimes I'm like, oh boy.
Oh,
But
my
sometimes they're
4-year-old likes it.
helpful. What?
Yeah. My 4-year-old loves that show. Just kidding. No.
Well, good. That's great. Next time we're hanging out, we'll have something to talk about. So that's fantastic.
No, it's a good show,
Um,
but those graphics are pretty funny. You're right.
they're
Yeah.
pretty funny. It's like
Yeah.
money's going away. Like got it. Great. So Prophet, Doctor Strange. There you go. Adam, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for joining us. We're here every week, spilling the IT. And Adam, anything else? You're good.
Nope, nope. Excited going to a partner conference next week down in Austin, Texas. Going to be at the Avant Special Forces training. Going to be training some folks there in our partner community on security. So excited for that. Going to be an in-person event, which is
Love
very
it.
exciting these days. And
Hit up the Alamo Draft House. It's very fun.
all right, cool. We'll do. We'll
Cool.
do.
All
All
right.
right.
We'll see you soon.
All right. Take it easy.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.